Gamer, starring Gerard Butler from the year 2009, is a sci-fi action movie. Like I said, starring Gerard Butler. And he plays the character called Cable, who is, we find out later in the movie, wrongly convicted death row inmate who is taking part in this video game, which is, it is sort of a video game, but it's a little different because he is a player in the game, but he's being controlled by someone else. So he has like a chip or whatever in his brain, and there's some like 17-year-old kid controlling him and fighting with other death row inmates, and they're like in a first-person shooter type game, and they're shooting each other. So the premise right off the bat is kind of silly, but this could have been fun if they didn't take it so seriously, and the editing was better, and things made more sense. There's a lot of things that are wrong with this movie. It's not very good, but let's get into it. Rotten Tomatoes, so 29% for the tomato meter, and yeah, this movie's shit. So that's fair, honestly. 39% for the audience score, also fair-ish. I don't know what I'm going to give it, but I'm probably going to give it less than 5, and that's rare for me because I really have to not like a movie to give it under 5. Oh, and while I like some things about this, it wasn't enough to bring it above 5 for me. But there's a lot of actors that I like, lots of big names in this, and we'll get into that when I go through the cast. But let's read some of the reviews. Mark Neveldine and Brian Taylor direct with their usual fashy brio. I mean, I guess I think the movie looks pretty shitty the whole time. There's like glitches put in the movie, and the editing's really quick, and sometimes they show something that doesn't even make sense or have to do with the plot, and that confuses things. Yeah, the movie's a mess. An injection of adrenaline straight to the eye, which isn't entirely a bad thing. I think it is. Can I get back the 90 minutes of my life that I squandered sitting through this miasmic upchuck of techno sludge? What was the story again? I mean, you got me beat. I don't know. I mean, I kind of do. I explained it, but it is very convoluted and confusing. So I get what they mean. Let's look at the average rating. So the average rating actually makes the score a lot higher for the critics, still failing, but 4.3 out of 10 is the average rating. And 2.9 out of 5 is the average rating for the audience. So that one goes up a little bit, and so does the critic score, but it's still not good. Let's read some more of the reviews. This is another bad one. Just spinning pictures on a string until they make a new picture and give you a bit of a headache. I mean, kinda, that's what it feels like sometimes, honestly. What the fuck? This review, holy shit. Unquestionably the greatest Gerard Butler film. And not the same as a film with Gerard Butler? What the fuck does that mean? No, it's the name plus ultra-violence of knucklehead action on which he's concerned the market won, splattering him with brains while showing its own. I don't even understand that review, because it is a Gerard Butler film, but it's not the greatest one. I don't get what he means by that. But moving on, I don't think it's that important. In the press materials, Mr. Butler informs us enthusiastically that the movie has all the hallmarks of Neveldine's and Taylor's sick yet genius minds. At least he's half right. Sick minds. I'm assuming that's the part that they meant. Let's read one more bad review, one more good review. Bodies and buildings blow up, but this is a carnage of the most lackluster sort, with any momentum petering out long before it's game over. Yeah, I agreed. This is a good review. Gamer doesn't import gaming aesthetics to the movie so much as it considers the gaming medium with every weapon in the cinematic arsenal. So they're saying that they think that they did a good job of like representing gaming, but I don't think they did really. Like, they have one guy that's like sort of a very stereotypical like 4chan gamer who is like, they have this really overweight guy and unattractive, and he's like shoving waffles and dipping them in syrup and shoving them in his mouth, and just to like intentionally be kind of gross. And they're like, yeah, that's fucking gamers, they're gross. But then they also have on the other end of that, to be fair, Simon, who is like the golden boy, handsome young gamer who's really good young gamer. So they do have to do different spectrums, to be fair. But I don't think this was a great representation of gaming. We'll get into more of the plot and the notes in a bit here, though. Yeah, let's move on to the IMDb page. 5.7 out of 10 is what it gets on IMDb, which isn't very good. But it's better than what Tammy the T-Rex got, which I think is criminal. The popularity of this movie is going up, apparently. I think people are going back to this because it is fucking just batshit insane. So, like, you could maybe make the argument that this is so bad it's good, but I'm not going to do that. I think this is just bad, but let's, like I said, 5.7 out of 10. It gets on IMDb, which I think is too high. But Gerard Butler, of course, is Cable, the main character. We got Michael C. Hall as Ken Castle, who is actually kind of fun as the villain. And he's the guy who put together this game, Slayers is what it's called, where real inmates get controlled by people and they actually kill each other. And if you get through 30 games and you're still alive, then you get to be released free. And Gerard Butler's character is 3 games away or 2 games away or whatever in this movie. And it's the farthest anyone's ever gotten to getting freed. The closest anyone's gotten to being freed. But Ludacris is in this as well, and he's the head of the resistance called Humans, with a Z. Of course, everything has to be with a fucking Z, because that's cooler. And yeah, the revolution doesn't seem that big, because there's not that many people in it. There's like 5 people in the revolution. But, you know, that's fine, I guess. It's not very hard to take down a revolution, though, when there's only like 5 people in it. But it's like Ludacris and like 4 other people in this fucking revolution, it seems like. And he's trying to like take down the bad guy, Castle, and try to stop this video game, as well as the other game that he created called Society, which people, again, get controlled. Real people get controlled. It's kind of like Second Life, but someone can control a person and pay them to control them, or you can get paid to be controlled, as they say in the movie. Terry Crews is in this movie, and his role is he's basically the guy that's hired to kill Gerard Butler in the game, so he doesn't get freed, because of course he has some information that Castle does not want the world to know. But what else? I'm trying to look at other actors, and there's nobody really that's very noteworthy, but everyone did a good job, like, relatively. It's not the acting that's the problem with this movie, it's the script. And Terry Crews is good. Like, he did a good job for what he was given. All the actors are fine. It's just the friggin' plot is a mess and just awful. Let's read the storyline, even though I explain it, but this will explain it better, probably. Ken Castle is extremely rich, popular, and powerful since he invented and started exploiting the virtual online parallel reality games. In these games, people can either pay to be a user or get paid to be an actor in a system of mind control. In the ultimate version, Slayers, death row convicts act as gladiators in a desperate, dim bid for survival, which no one has achieved yet. The champion, John Cable Tillman, is scheduled to die just before he gains release, but he persuaded his teenage handler, Simon, to hand over the reins so he can fully use his talents and experience. Cable escapes to freedom, but Castle's men chase him. Cable has to fight his way back to Castle's headquarters, to challenge his evil plans. Yep, that's the plot. All right, let's look at the box office information. And this is something I was really curious about, because I'm not sure if this made money or not. Oof, this bombed. And I'm not surprised, because it is really bad. But $50 million budget, and then grossed $40 million. So, no, not so good. But honestly, it deserved to bomb, because it really was awful. But yeah, let's get into the notes though. Here on my notepad, I think I got a few. Let's look here. Insane editing right off the bat. So one of the first things we see is the first Slayers game that we see with Gerard Butler. And there's all these like quick cuts and like glitches on the screen, and it's just fucking like giving you a headache right off the bat. And you can make the argument that like, why is there glitches on the screen? Because these are real people. It's not really a game. They're just like being filmed and being mind controlled. So it's not exactly the same as a video game. But you could make the argument that the glitches are like in Gerard Butler's brain or something, but I don't know. Either way you look at it, I don't like it. It doesn't feel right, and it doesn't look good, and it made me sick to watch, kind of. So I hated the editing for the most part in this movie. There's some parts that are edited fine, but like there's way more parts that are just fucking crazy, and like weird close-ups and just shit that should not be put in the way that it's put in the movie. Okay, so I was saying that all the acting was pretty good, but there was, I guess, some acting that I thought was wooden. Yeah, some of the convicts were a little wooden with their delivery and stuff, but they're not in it that long, so that's fine. I don't get the convict jumping away. So there's a part where, like, someone punches someone, this is in the prison area, and then he, like, jumps away, and that's it. Like, we don't go back to that. That's never mentioned again in the movie, and I don't know why it was in the movie. It didn't need to be, that's for sure. But this movie's fucking, like, it's not even that long, right? Like, how long is this movie runtime? Hour and 35 minutes, and then like 10 or 15 minutes of it is fucking credits at the end, which is insane. So maybe that's why they put some extra shit that doesn't even make sense, because they needed to fill some time. Because they barely scratched an hour 35 with fucking 15 minutes of credits, which is insane. But yeah, let's look at some more of my notes here. Bus ad words cycle through too fast. So yeah, this is just a quick little note. There was like an ad for Slayers, the game, on a bus ad, and it's like a TV screen, and they show it the words just really quick, and I had to rewind 3 times to read the ad. So it's like, how are people reading this so fast? I don't know, maybe I'm just slow, but I didn't get that, and I thought that it was too fast. Cliche of gamers being gross. So I already said this one, because about the guy that's he's pretending to be the hot chick. He's hired Cable's wife to control in this game called Society, which is like a Sims or a Second Life. And like I said, he's like the stereotypical fat 4chan gamer, and he's gross, and he's dipping waffles in syrup and shoving it in his mouth. Yeah, so that's stereotypical. But like I said, there's also the other end of that with Simon, the handsome young gamer. So they do at least show both sides of that. Obvious stock footage of crowds cheering. So this is something I noticed right away when they show all these big crowd shots of people cheering from watching Slayers. It's clearly like stock footage of sporting events from all over the world and that kind of thing. But that didn't bother me as much, because lots of movies do that. But I felt like I had to point it out, because it is kind of funny still, I think. Let's see. Some things haven't aged well. So, this is from 2009. So They say some shit. This movie is aged worse than Tammy the T-Rex, and Tammy the T-Rex is from '94. But they say, you know, the R word a lot, and they say gay a lot to be discriminatory. So, you know, some things haven't aged well, but it's from 2009. And, like, you just don't take it too seriously, because it's, like, literally one of the lines in this is gay, 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 retardedly gay, gay, gay. Someone wrote that line down. Like, seriously. Not only is it terrible, but it's also poorly written. Anyways, moving on. Does Simon ask his sister to make out? So yeah, he does, I think. And it's just weird. I don't get it. His sister is like video chatting him, and he has this big like computer room with shit on the walls. And she's, I forget what she's even saying to him, but all I remember is that he's like, want to make out? And she's like, gross. And it's like, yeah, she's your fucking sister. Like, what the fuck, Simon? You weirdo. I don't like that. Maybe and I think he was just joking, but it still came off as just fucking weird and wrong. My next note is boobs. So there's lots and lots of boobs in this movie. It's an R-rated movie. And there's boobies in it. A lot of them. And you can tell they were like, this movie's R-rated. Let's throw like all the gore, all the fucking swears, all the boobies. They did, like, and I'm fine with these things and I like these things, but I would like there to be structure and plot and good dialogue and good characters around it. But this movie didn't do a good job with those other things. Anyways, moving on. Why did Terry Crews reveal the plan? So yeah, like I said earlier, Terry Crews' job in this is to kill Cable. But like before they do that, the match of which Terry Crews is supposed to do this, he explains the whole thing to him. And he's like, yeah, I'm gonna fucking kill you. And it's like, wouldn't the element of surprise help you? Wouldn't you wanna save that for later and not tell him so he doesn't know? I don't know. I don't think that makes any sense, but moving on. He should have told Simon about Terry. He should have told Simon about Terry. Oh, so I think what I mean by that is in the movie, they can talk to each other. Simon, who's controlling Cable. And at one point in the movie, because there's what they call a ping, there's like a delay from the controller to the person. So Gerard Butler is like, just let me go loose, and then we have a better chance of winning because I don't have to wait for you to control me. Because there's no ping if you just let him go. And they're talking to each other because Ludacris set this up for them, of course. And they can talk to each other. And you're not supposed to talk to each other, but they're doing it, and they seem to be getting away with it, so that's fine. But yeah, he should have told he should have told Simon about Terry Crews, because like that's a big part of what's going on right now. He's like, and he didn't, like, Terry Crews just tried to kill him, and he's like, what's going on? He's like, doesn't tell him, doesn't fucking tell him. He should tell him, but I guess it's fine. And I guess you could make the argument that Gerard Butler doesn't give a shit about this kid, and why should he? Because he's like controlling him and it's in this fucked up world. But I digress. Moving on. And I already said this. Oh wait, no, I'm not there yet. Why didn't Cable get killed? Yeah, I think I watched a review and they explained this, but it didn't make sense watching it, because Terry Crews is about to shoot our guy. He's about to shoot Gerard Butler, and he does. He pulls the trigger, but then the bullets don't do anything. And I don't understand. Was it the armor that was bought earlier, or was it the time's up in the game? But then if the time's up in the game and this is reality, and they're just being controlled, then why is the gun have fake bullets? Wouldn't the gun just shoot him anyway? So many questions, and I haven't even written down all the things that don't make sense in this movie, but there's so many things that don't make sense in this movie. It's so messy, the plot of this film. But this movie sucks. Anyway, my next note. The delay issue, I already explained that, so I don't think I need to get into it. The ping, for the reaction time, the delay with the controlling of Gerard Butler. I already explained that. So moving on. Custody agent laughs in Angie's face. So this is another sort of regular occurrence in this movie with people just acting not how people act. So we have a guy, I guess he's a custody agent or something. The wife of Cable is trying to get her child back from the government or whatever. And she's explaining her situation. She's like, I'm a recovering addict, but I'm clean now, and I'm working, and I want my daughter back. And she's like, where are you working? She's like, I'm an actor. And he's like, where are you acting at? And she's like, in the game Society. And he's like, laughs in her face. It's like, you fucking stupid bitch. And it's like, man, you're a government agent. You shouldn't be so rude and such a dick. And just laughing in her face. Like, fuck this guy. He should get killed. But he's only in this scene. My next note is poor little rich honky. This was one of my favorite parts of the movie because it was so stupid. It made me laugh quite a bit. Because not only do they say poor little rich honky, but they repeat it a few times. Because it's Ludacris talking to Simon, and he's explaining that you gotta let Cable free. You gotta let him loose so that there's no delay between the controlling. And he's like, because if you lose, you'll just be another poor little rich honky. Poor little rich honky. And they keep repeating it because he's talking to the computer, and they're like playing it back sort of like it's glitching or whatever. But I just like that they said poor little rich honky a few times. That was my favorite part maybe of the whole movie. And when that's the best part of the movie, I think you got some problems. I don't understand the vodka drinking. I kind of get it, but let me explain what I mean. So Gerard Butler is like, I'm going to get really drunk for the most important match, the one where I'm escaping. So he chugs a Mickey of vodka, then fucking throws the bottle, and then he goes into the game. And Simon is talking to him. He's like, fuck, why are you drunk? What the fuck are you doing? Which is what we're all thinking right now. But get this, the reason he drank the vodka is so he goes to a truck and he pukes into the truck's gas tank and then pisses into it, and I guess that gives it enough fuel that he can drive the truck out of there, which would not fucking work. It just wouldn't work. Just plain and simple. That's not how fucking alcohol works. I'm sorry, but just no. Moving on, next note. I thought it was a dream sequence, but no. So this part is crazy. Right off the bat, when Cable, Gerard Butler, goes to Castle, the bad guy's home, to confront him and try to get his daughter back. Right away, it feels like a fucking dream sequence, but it's not. It's actually happening. There's a big musical number where Castle is singing I've Got You Under My Skin by Frank Sinatra, and all his henchmen are doing choreography, and I really thought that it was like a part of his brain or like a dream or something, but no. This is all really happening in the movie. And it's insane. And then they're walking through space, and I had so many questions about this movie. And some people liked that scene, but I thought it was too weird, and it brought me out of it, and I was just confused the whole time. Did not like it. Moving on. Who are the people watching Castle die? So yeah, there's just a bunch of guys around Castle that I thought worked for him, but why don't they try to save him when he's getting killed? Again, a million questions about this movie and the plot, because things just don't fucking make sense. But yeah, who the fuck are these people? I don't know, but they're there. My last note is Cable should have been officially pardoned, but they don't explain that. They're just like, the movie's over and everything's good and he's happy now, so it's all good. But no, there was the whole thing where he escaped from the game so he wouldn't be on the grid. So like clearly they should be trying to at least explain why he's okay. Like clearly he should be okay. He should be able to go free because he didn't commit the crime. But in the eyes of the public, you'd think they'd be like, hey, is this guy's like a serial killer on the loose? But they don't explain any of that at all. It's just fine. Everything's just good. No explanation needed, apparently. But yeah, this movie sucked. They don't explain enough. I really didn't like this movie. There's a couple parts that made me laugh, and some could argue it's so bad it's good, but I think it was just so bad it's bad. And yeah, just super silly, trying to capitalize on the gaming craze, because this is 2009 was like when it really started to be getting very popular, like esports and that kind of thing. But so they tried to capitalize it, and it didn't work because this movie fucking bombed, because it fucking sucked. But I'm gonna give this fucking, like, this movie's bad, but I don't know what I'm gonna give it. I'm gonna give it below 5. Let's give it 3. Let's give it 3 out of 10, because it's not good. There's some things I kind of liked about it, but it just takes itself too seriously. The editing is too choppy. The glitching stuff I don't like, and it makes me nauseous. The editing in general is pretty bad. The story, so many things don't make sense and don't add up. Gamer, 3 out of 10 ducks.